take care of this while I'm here. The sun's come out. The sun's come out. It just rained, which is one of the reasons why we're starting late. The sun, I got out here to do this, and then a shower of rain came. So I'm doing this outside today. Woo. And it poured just as I was coming out, and so we've had to start from the beginning again. So here we are. This is live number 4. It's February 4th, and this is live number 4 because we're doing a live video, a live training, video, seminar, chat, you call it whatever you will, every day for February. And so it's Saturday. And so the live for today is simply called It's the Weekend. It's called that, but it's not as simple as it seems because the weekends can get kind of complicated, can't they? Weekends, most people don't work on the weekends. Most people work Monday to Friday, everywhere in the world pretty much. And even people who work for themselves sometimes manage to get a day off on the weekend. We make time for the time on the weekend. And so the big question today is, what do you do with your time? Your time off, your free time, your leisure time, what do you do with it? Because, of course, remember that what we are doing for 2023 with Elevation 2023 is we are elevating everything, including our use of time. We're making sure we get the most we possibly can out of whatever time we have. I'm Shirley Osborne, and I am delighted, honored. It's an absolute pleasure for me to be walking with you through this Elevation 2023 for the rest of this year. Before we go any further, I'd like to ask you a favor. Please just click like, share, follow, subscribe, whatever button you see down there, click all of them. Share this with somebody, a friend of yours, a colleague, anybody, because these lives are open to everybody. The goal, the idea is that, like I said in one of my, and I say it pretty often, one of my Chinese students some years ago told me that they'd been taught, all of them, standard teaching for them was when something really good happens to you, you pass it on, you share it with somebody else. And one of the really, really wonderful things that has happened to me in my life is that I have had the pleasure, the honor, the privilege, the absolute real privilege of meeting and working with and creating relationships with women from literally all around the world. Many, 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 many countries in the world, women and people. I mean, I should say people, including, for example, a man who, a man from Canada, lives literally an Inuit man who lives on the sea at the North Pole almost. Well, in northern Canada, it's really, really, really cold, and it's icy and cold most of the year. Well, much of the year. And we had this conversation, and he was talking to me about fishing, his people fishing. And then I said something about swimming, and he said, we don't swim. I thought, what do you mean you don't swim? You live near the sea. And then, of course, I remember, you can't swim when the water is, you can't swim in that kind of weather. I'm from the Caribbean. So when I think about sea, the first thing that comes to mind, you get in the water. You can't get in the water up there. And so I've had the privilege of meeting all these people and sharing all of these experiences, learning all of these things. And my work with women, with the world generally, and with women in particular, is to share what I have gathered along the way, to pass it on. And I do that through my work with the Women's Leadership Circle and through initiatives like this, Elevation 2023. Elevation 2023 takes us right through until December 31st, which some of you call Old Year's Day, New Year's Eve. We call it Old Year's Day where I come from. And it's a really magical, for me, Old Year's is a really magical, mystical kind of name. And it has so much mystery, so much unknown to it, because the next day is a brand new day, but it's a brand new year. It's not just the first day of a month, it's the first day of a whole new year, and all kinds of things could happen. And so Elevation 2023 is going to support us all in elevating ourselves, raising our game throughout the year, so that we come to the 31st having accomplished all kinds of wonderful things that we wanted to and just perhaps never had the support, the thought we didn't have the time, all those things to accomplish. But you know now that you do. You have the time, you have the support, you have the Women's Leadership Circle in your corner, 100%. That's what we do. And so although we have a whole year, we don't have much time. Just yesterday, I had a conversation with a friend of mine who said something about I have time. We're talking about doing things, and she said, "I have time." I said, "No, you don't." She said, "Of course, we always have time." I said, "No, we never have time. We think we do." And then I remember one of the teachings of the Buddha is that one of the biggest mistakes, and of course I'm paraphrasing here, one of the biggest mistakes that human beings make is that we always assume that we have time. We do not. We have this particular moment. We don't know if we have the next one. And so the question always is, what do you do? We hear about living in the present, but we also hear about preparing for the future. So the trick is to balance them. As human beings, we have to be prepared just in case we get the time, but we have to also be aware that we might not get the time. So how do we manage that? We work with urgency. We work always with urgency. And so that's what this year is about. Assuming that we all have this year. And even if we don't, if next week I'm not here to talk to you, I'm not here to do this with you, at least I would have done everything I could up until then. I'd have used my time, right? So, and the question of time is what I want to talk about today, which is perfect because it's free time. I'm sitting outside. There's a big old breadfruit tree behind me. I'm in my mother's backyard, and it's been raining off and on. It's cloudy, but it's still bright. Look at that, isn't that lovely light? And I'm in the Caribbean at the moment, and preparing to do some traveling. I'm preparing to do some more work for the year on myself, personal work, and my professional work, which is, luckily for me, I feel very, very fortunate that my personal and my professional life combine like this. It's the easiest thing. Last couple of weeks ago, I had a conversation with a woman, and I said to her, she works a lot. And I said to her, "You must get really tired. You must be, She said, "Yes, I do, but it's not work. I love what I do, Shirley. I love what I do, so I don't consider it work." I feel the same when I'm doing these things. One of the reasons I do these lives, and my friends keep saying, "Shirley, seriously, how do you do it 28 days straight?" Because last year we did 45 days straight. I did lives when I was in the airports. I did lives in the dark. I did lives, because I said 45 days. They asked me, "How do you do this? How can you?" And I can because I really love these sessions. I get to share with women what I know, what I've been taught by other women, by men, by children. You'd be surprised at things children can teach you. A lot of my work has been done with children, young girls in particular. And my life has always revolved around children anyway. I first became godmother. I got my first godchild when I was 11 or 12 years old. I got confirmed when I was 11 or 12 years old. I can't remember. It's a while ago. And a very next 2 weeks later, I was an official godmother, if you please. Yeah. I've always had children around because I used to babysit this little boy, and his mother thought I did such a good job, and he was so attached to me that she asked me to be his godmother. Yeah. So I have a godson who's almost as old as I am. Imagine that. How cool is that? So, and I've learned so much from children along the way. So the issue of time, I hope that I've used my time. Well, it's raining again. So I'm going to move this a little bit further inside so it doesn't get wet, because that's what happened earlier, and I ended up doing an avatar that I didn't want on my restream. So the issue of time and how we use time and how we think of time is really, really important. And I chose to do this today. For another reason why I chose to do this today is because I've been telling people to register now for December 31st. They say, "I have time." No, you don't have time. Because two reasons right now. The first two that come to mind are, you might not be here December 31st, and you will have missed all the cool stuff and the people you'd meet in the meantime. Plus, you just might forget or something, Oh, hello, Dr. Ava. How are you? Welcome. The important thing is that we use time carefully. We think of time as a limited resource, because it really is. But my friend we didn't even have a chat yesterday. She was arguing. She said, no. She was insisting. "We have time. I have time. I can do it tomorrow. I can do it." No. You could. You might get the time, but you don't know that you have it. And unless you know you have it, you don't really have it. And you can't know, the way life is, you can't know you're going to have it until it has gone, by which time you no longer have it. You had it. A little bit of semantics there, but that's how it is. A little bit of semantics, but that's really how it is, because that is how life works. We actually were talking about someone, a young person who had died, got food poisoning and died, and we were remembering, of course, all the people who didn't make it through the last 3 years because of COVID. Came up one day, a week later, I lost two cousins of mine to COVID. And we thought we had time. One in particular was a favorite cousin of mine. Um, he was gay, and he was a really good cook, and really, really very proud and very, very extravagant. Really, really one of my favorite people, period. Plus, he was my cousin. So, we'd talk about fashion and clothes because he was that kind of guy. And I lost him in COVID. But we thought he was reaching retirement age, and we thought we're good now. He'd be able to come to the Caribbean. We get to hang out on Lime and do all kinds of cool things. Of course, that didn't happen. He didn't have the time. We didn't have the time together that we thought we would. I remember years ago when I did my life spring training in New York City, in the basic, I remember getting this argument with my senior because she kept saying, life is a game. You need to learn to play the game. You need to work with urgency, which means you need to, hi Max, let me do this, which means you need to acknowledge that you don't have time. You do it now, 100% in, 100% of the time with urgency. And I argued with her. First of all, I said, life is not a game. It's a very serious thing. I was in one of those deep, dark areas, times of my life. And life was not very much fun at the time. It was not a happy time. Mm-hmm. And so it was right after, this was late 1990s, right after the volcanic eruptions began in Montserrat. I lost my country pretty much. So many of my family and friends and relatives and people had left the island. We didn't know the island would survive if we get buried completely by the volcano, and whether I'd be able to go back home, because I'd gone to the US to do my master's degree. The plan was to come back to the islands when I was done. And that couldn't happen because there was nothing going on. People were running for their lives, quite literally. And we're losing people. And then my grandmother, who she had left the island once to go. She had broken her leg and had to go to another island for treatment. And who had also, by the way, said thank you very much, but refused invitations to travel to England or America where her children were living, children and grandchildren. And she'd always said no. And my grandmother, at 96 years old, had to have been transplanted. I had to come and get her out of Montserrat and take her to Boston, cold Boston, out of the part of the volcano. It's my grandmother's house. You can look through her kitchen window, and the mountain is right there. The mountain with the volcano is right in her kitchen, framed beautifully, perfectly framed in her kitchen window. So I took her away to where we all were, and she didn't last the winter. We got there in August, and January is just a few weeks after her 97th birthday. She left us. So when I was in this would have been 97, 98 when I was doing that training. And I was not a happy camper. And so I kept getting in arguments with my senior about life is a game. You have to learn to play the game a certain kind of. I'm saying, no, you need to do this, that, and the other. And the issue of urgency, that piece I got. But of course, my frame of reference at the time was, there is no time. Time is so unpredictable. What was bothering me, what was weighing on me was the unpredictability. Not that you don't have it, is that you might have it. You just don't know that you do have it. So you might be working on something and not come because you didn't have the time ended for you. Or you might plan something. Yeah, you might plan something and not get it done. Or you might not plan something because you think you don't have the time. You might not have the time. So don't get too, all of those things are going through my head. So my senior and I had these real arguments about time. Over the years, I've grown up. Thank you very much. I have matured. I've become wiser. I've learned. I've been taught. And now I know that if you don't have time, the Buddha was right. We do not have time. We might get it. And so we have to act as if we might get it, but know also that we must also know, we must also act as if we might not get it. So instead of putting it off, do it now. And I think of so many instances in the past where you wanted to do something, you wanted to see somebody, and you put it off and put it off. I can think of two in particular where I said, I'm going to give him a call. I'm calling my call. And then never got the chance to do that. There are two instances in my life where I did that. I've learned my lesson. I don't do that. When I get call somebody, they come to my mind. Yeah. As my mother would say, when my mind runs on somebody out of the blue, especially somebody I haven't spoken to in a while, I call, I check in. I send a WhatsApp, I send an email, I make a phone call, but I check in because, like I said, it's happened to me twice. I lost friends twice. In both instances, a few days before, I thought, I got this thing, I should call. I wonder how he's doing. I should give him a call. And then a few days, I didn't call because I'll do it later. I'll do it on the weekend. And then a few days later, I get a call that I get a call that they've left, and I didn't get to say goodbye, didn't get to chat. So time is important. And I chose to speak about time on the weekend because we always think we have time on the weekend. Because we're not at work, we think we have time. We call it free time. We call it leisure time. And yes, it's free time from work. It's leisure time. You get to very often choose what you want to do. So the question I have for you this weekend is, what decisions do you make about your time, your free time, your leisure time? How do you choose to spend it? And bear in mind that there's no wrong answer here, because sometimes really all you need to do is lie in bed. All you need to do on a Saturday sometimes, what you really, really should do on a Saturday sometimes, turn off the phone, close the door, answer nobody, and stay in your bed and do whatever it is you want to sleep, read, sleep, roll around, look at the ceiling, whatever you want to do. Sometimes we have to do that. This morning, I was up early because I get up early anyway. My mom says because I was born early. Yeah, I was born about 6 o'clock in the morning. And yeah, so I got up early, like I often do, like I always do actually. And except on those days when I just need to lie down. And I can manage until maybe 9, 10 o'clock, and then I have to get up. I got up, I said I was going to go hike up a hill, and then I got to the beach. I was going to park on the beach and walk up the hill next to it. I got there, the water was beautiful and the beach was empty. There was one fisherman on the beach. So I thought, you know what, I haven't been to the beach. It's been rough. In this time of the year, the seas can be pretty rough. So I haven't been doing a lot of swimming. I said, I am not going to lose a moment of this. I'm going to swim. The mountain's not moving. I promise you, the mountain's not going anywhere. So I can go to the mountains anytime. As long as I have the time. But I'm going to take the time now to go into the sea. So I walked up and down the beach a little bit, chatted with a couple of fishermen who came by while I was there, and had myself a nice swim. The water was kind of cold. Not as cold as the Arctic, but really cold. I got in and my skin prickled. It was beautiful, actually, a beautiful feeling. And then I came back home and I got prepared to do this. And then I said we do it, and I got out here. The rain changed my time. Rain just came pouring down like it did a little while ago. I'm sure you saw it. It was not quite as heavy this time. And I make time every weekend. I make time to do that. I make time to take time off. So the weekends, I know lots of people, the weekends are rush. I don't know, you have kids to take to football practice or to music lessons, or you got to go look after you, checking on your parents. You had dinner date with somebody. You have church on Sunday morning, and then you have dinner for your family. And so your weekends are even busier than your work day. You know, that is, we've all had those, haven't we? And so we think it's hard to find time. And it is hard to find time, which is why we have to make time. Earlier this week, when I talked about health, I said, make time. Don't take time for your health. Make the time to look after your health. And I'm saying the same thing today. Make the time to take time out. Make the time for free time. Create your own free time. Do it whatever you will, but have it. Create it. Take it. Schedule it. Block it out. Tell people, don't call me unless bones are broken and there's blood on the floor. Do not call me. Yeah. Or say, hey, I have free time. Let's go do something together. Let's go skydive. Let's just sit and chat. Let's have a meal. Let's go walking. Let's do something, because your free time, your leisure time, again, sometimes what you need to do with your time, what would really serve, is to spend time with the people you love. The time you don't get to spend during the week. Earlier this week, I talked about how, again, our days are often so busy, rushing back and forth, up and down. We don't even get time to sit and eat a meal with the people we love. We give the kids something from the drive-through as we go through in the morning, and they're off to school. In the evening, we pick up something from the drive-through, hand it to the child in the back, you eat, they come home, and we don't spend enough time with our family. And it really is important. I love the idea of meals together, because they give us time to just chill. I spoke about Mediterranean people who sometimes, in the summer, they take hours to have their meals, 2 and 3 hours, and just sit and talk, or just relax, eat, and then sit and read or something. And meal times are precious and very, very valuable, and you can use them so much. They're easy way to build relationships, strengthen relationships. But so often we don't even take time for that. We pick up food at the drive-thru. Like I say, going off to work, we stop at Dunkin' Donuts or somewhere, Starbucks, pick up a coffee and a brioche or something, and we're off to work. And we drop the kids at school, or we get dropped off, we catch the bus, we catch the train, whatever. Even when we live alone and we don't have any immediate home family responsibilities for cooking and so on, we do that. And that's another problem, because we think that because we're alone, we don't need to spend this time. We don't want to put the time in. Listen to me, my darlings. Take the time. Even when you're alone, take the time, prepare your meal, get your best china, your best crystal, whatever, sit down, put your napkin on your lap, and eat your meal. Enjoy it, even if it's you alone. Because guess what? Your most important relationship anyway is with whom? With yourself. With yourself. So take time with yourself, including, if you have to, if you can actually, have a meal with yourself. Just sit and savor your food and have fun with it. And let me turn this phone off that I didn't turn off. Sorry about that. Yeah. Take time. Take the time for yourself. Make the time for yourself. The other thing I want to talk about before we end a little bit about time, and it has to do with how we think we have time. Going back to recognize that we don't have time. Consider your time valuable. Consider that other people's time is also valuable. Consider that other people's time is also valuable. And one of the things I tell people, which, I get raised eyebrows and all kinds of things when I say this. I say, allow other people the time to have their own experience. Let them have their experience. I have a friend, Jazz. She says that to me often. I'm just letting them have their experience, letting her have her experience. So often we run out of time. We don't have enough time for ourselves. We are unable to create or find the time for ourselves especially because we're women, we spend so much of our time on other people. Other people get to spend their time doing other things, which is a good thing. We get to do that sometimes. But I always caution women, don't always be jumping to do something for someone. It sounds a little bit selfish, and I'm sure you'll hear people say that. I've heard that. It's not. There are times when you really must allow other people their time. Let them have their experience. Let them learn. Let them have their time. You use that time to do something that could help them also have their time, but without you using up your time doing it. Time is valuable. Time is precious. And when you use it, it must work for you and the others. So, for example, your child's doing her homework. Let her struggle a little bit. Do not, under any circumstances, do her homework for her. Teach her where you can. Support her. Do what my mother did for me, and I struggled when she did it. I'd ask my mother, Mommy, what does this word mean? Her response, standard response, stock response, get the dictionary. And I get the dictionary, and I'd end up spending half an hour, because you find one word, you find another one, you find another one, you find another one. And I had my experience. That experience is one of the reasons why I can speak to you like this. My mother allowed me the time, my learning time, to have my experience, and that helped me build. Let's talk about partners, lovers, husbands, wives, parents. When we love people, women think that because we love people, when we love people, our job is to take care. We've been taught that. We weren't born with that. We were taught that. Our job includes taking care of the people in our lives. Yes, yes, it does. When they need it. Allowing people the time to learn to take care of themselves is a really, really very good thing to do. A really, really very good thing to do. So on your weekends, when you are taking the time, when you are making the time to look after yourselves, allow them the time also to learn about themselves, learn to take care of themselves, learn the things that they must learn so that life gets good for them. I was at a funeral the other day and I saw a woman and a child. The child was maybe 5, 6 years old or so. And child was fidgety because kids do that. You're sitting in a funeral, they're not the happiest places. And it's church and all that. And she took her cell phone, gave it to the child. So the child sitting there in church playing games on the phone. She did that because she wanted to participate in the funeral. She didn't want the child interrupting, didn't want the child to get, uncomfortable. No, allow him to learn to be uncomfortable. Teach him how to manage discomfort. We all remember sitting in church or sitting in a concert or sitting somewhere, and your mother or your grandmother or whoever is close by, whichever adult, of course, we didn't like it as children, but what did it do for us? It helped us grow. We were allowed our time to learn how to grow. The adults allowed us, created the time, allowed us the time, it's our time to learn, and they allowed us the time that we needed to learn. When you don't do that, children grow up and we all have instances of that too, where we didn't learn something and it affects our adult life. So I want to say this to you. Make time. 2 things I want to leave with you. Make time for, well, 3 things actually. Acknowledge, recognize that you do not have time. You do not. We do not have time. Time might lend itself to us. We cannot depend on time. Time is the single most unreliable thing in our lives, is time. Time is the single most unreliable thing in my life, I believe. I say that with full confidence and experience and good justification. You cannot depend on time. I remember a pen pal, when we had pen pals, some years ago, wrote me a thing, time tied on the bus, wait for no one. Well, the bus sometimes does, but. So acknowledge, recognize, accept that you do not have time. We do not have time. We might get it, but we cannot depend on it. 2, plan as if you do have time. Make full use of the time that you have by planning for it, bearing also in mind that you might not have it, right? So acknowledge it, plan for it, always bearing in mind you might not have it. Allow yourself, make time for yourself. Make time for yourself. For whatever. It's to eat, to get healthy, to jog, to just sit and chill and relax, to meditate, to spend with your friends. Make time for yourself. And equally importantly, allow other people their time. Allow other people to have their time. Those 4 things. Keep them in mind as we go through the year. Keep them in mind as we go through the year. I am inviting some wonderful women to hang out with us throughout the year and on December 31st. December 31st, some of us are going to be in this lovely, wonderful green space, Montserrat, because we have a party. We have a party planned for December 31st. I've already arranged the stage and the venue and everything, Little Bay Park in Montserrat. We're going to have fireworks. We're going to have a wonderful time, those of us who can be here. Those who can't be here will will gather with us, will connect with us on some massive screens that will be in the park. So we can see you celebrate, you can see us celebrate. Some of us, maybe even one of us who's on here, will be coming. I won't say yet. I won't say yet until we confirm. But confirmation is, yeah, I've confirmed. There's a woman who sings, a Montreal woman who sings. Really, she's a party person. You're gonna get into the soul of Caribbean dancing when you see her, right? Soca. Those of you who don't know soca, you will. So take the time to look after yourself this year and do what you need to do so that on the 31st you can party with us. Old Year's night, New Year's Day, call it what you will. New Year's Eve, call it what you will. In the meantime, invite your friends, your sisters, your cousins, your daughters, your parents, aunties, everybody to join the Women's Leadership Circle. Go on to www.shirleyosborne.com, www.shirleyosborne.com, and join the Women's Leadership Circle so that you can not only get on the lives, and get the elevator, which is our weekly newsletter, but you can also get into the trainings and the seminars that we're going to be doing. We have our first real seminar is going to be a seminar on health, because we're doing one seminar every 2 months, one seminar on a seminar on each of the 5 areas we're working on this year, which are health, style, wealth, personal power, and relationships. Those are the 5 areas we're focusing on. We're going to have a full 1-day seminar on each of them, one every 2 months. So this month, February, on the 18th of February, which is 2 Saturdays from now, 2 weeks from now, we'll talk about health. I have some wonderful people talking to you about health, nutrition, exercise, fitness, all that kind of stuff. And in the newsletter, I keep putting things about health. One of the people I'm watching where health is concerned is I'm following is Dr. Huberman, Dr. Andrew Huberman. He's an ophthalmologist and a research scientist at Stanford University, and doing some amazing research work on health, on the science of being fit and healthy, and talking about how the sun affects our eyes, and how the hormones, how we can manage our hormones with things like sunlight and sleep and all those things for better health. Amazing stuff. And I keep sharing some of that with you in the newsletter. When we meet on the 18th for the health seminar, we'll talk about some of that too. I don't know Dr. Huberman, so I can't really invite him. I'd love to have him come talk, but perhaps later in the year. Who knows? Because the way these things happen is when people come together, all kinds of possibilities open up. So let's get together over the year. Let's get together now so that throughout the year we can just really, really build and grow. Invite some people, join, click like, share, subscribe, follow. Invite some people to do so. Go on the website, join us. $30 a year. It's $30 for the entire year. It gives you access to our seminars and our other trainings and so on. And this week, we're also sending out, for those of you who are members, the preliminary searching exercises, 2 of them. The primary one, the first one you'll get is the I Am poem. It's a wonderful, wonderful opportunity. It's an exercise that gets you to answer the question, who am I? Who am I? Because unless you know who you are, you don't even know where you want to go, why you want to go there, if you should go there, what you want to do, why you want to do these things. You have to know yourself. There's so many people. Check the history books, check People magazine, and you'll see how many people have found great success and then just crashed because they didn't know who they were. They didn't know that was not what was for them. So it's important to know who you are. So the February, apart from health, our foundation work in February is answering that question. Who am I? Who am I? Who am I? Why am I here? What do I want? What is this? And I said yesterday, for example, that when we talk about health, I build my diet, my healthy diet, around the foods that I like. I like soups, salads, and porridge. Soups, salads, and porridge. And I build my diet around those. You have soup, you have salad, you have porridge, I will sit with you. I eat other things, obviously, lots of others. But those are the things I really, really like because I know me. Those are the things I really, really like. And so I make sure I have the best quality of all of those. Everything from sweet potato porridge, arrowroot porridge, oats porridge, salads with my greens that my friends make, my friends grow, mozumi and arugula and all kinds of lettuce, some I never heard about, and all kinds of herbs and seasonings and soup. I'm going to cook minestrone in a minute, an Italian soup. It's Saturday in Montserrat, and there's a tradition of Saturday soup. Saturday soup is soup. They use cattle meat, bullfoot, yeah, goat meat, chicken, pig, salt pork, all kinds of things they use to make soup. And I love it. Lots of peas and carrots and pumpkins and all kinds of sweet potatoes and dasheen and so on. Dumplings, dumplings, dumplings. But today I want something lighter, so I'm making minestrone, which is a light Italian soup. That's what I'm having today. So have fun. Enjoy the rest of your day. See you tomorrow. Tomorrow will be in the afternoon. I have a meeting with a person at 3 o'clock, so we'll probably do about 1 o'clock, which will be 1 o'clock my time, which will be 2 o'clock. Oh yeah. 1 o'clock my time. No, 1 o'clock Eastern time, which is 2 o'clock my time, where I am right now. When I'm over in Eastern time, it'll change. When I am in England, it'll change. But yeah, I've had a good time hanging out with you today. Take time for yourself, make time for yourself. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about some cool, sexy stuff. I'm going to show you some pictures of me. We're going to talk about some cool, sexy stuff that have to do with how we shop in the world, how have to do with how we look after ourselves, how we want to be seen, and how we acknowledge all the different parts of ourselves. We're not just one thing. Especially when I work with young girls, I tell them this: you're not just one thing. Young girls, they're 12 and 13, they dress this way, and that's who I am. No, girl, that's only one of your millions of other different sides to you. So we're going to be talking about that tomorrow. Yes? So see you tomorrow. 1 o'clock Eastern time. Enjoy your Saturday. Have a wonderful Saturday night, evening, morning, wherever you are, whatever time the date is for you. If it's already Sunday, which it is for some people, enjoy it. And I'll see you later. Take good care. Oops.